Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Dr. Nick, and welcome back to the Dr. Nick Show. So today's topic, I just kind of want to, really celebrate what's going on right now. And I want to ask everyone a question out there. Is this the best time in wrestling that we're currently in? You have AEW, you have TNA Wrestling collaborating with WWE. You have guys like Joe Hendry, the Hardys, Moose coming into NXT. Right now is probably the most popular professional wrestling has been in a very long time. It's very mainstream because of Raw being on Netflix. You have all the pop culture influencers. You have people who are, actors and actresses and streamers, all kinds of people that are fans of professional wrestling that are also promoting it. You have a guy like Logan Paul, regardless of how you feel about the man, he was a huge stab in the arm of WWE in general, with him being the United States champion, him getting the viral video with him and Ricochet from before. In general, almost everyone, even if you're not a consistent fan, at least sees what's going on through passing. So, being a fan as long as I have, since about 89, I was about 4 years old, there's been ebbs and flows of the fandom. It was very popular for a lot of people during the early 80s, late 80s, going into, the Attitude Era. And a lot of people fell off. And then, through the mid-2000s, it got up a little again. And then from around, at least from my perspective, the last 5-6 years, it's just skyrocketed. And, there's a lot of things that are in play. A lot of my friends that I went to school with and are still friends with to this day, they fell out of wrestling for many different reasons. Whether it was they didn't like what was going on, they had other things, to do during that, dating, stuff with high school, sports, whatever. I never really fell off as a fan. There was multiple things that stood in the way of me being a fan, or at least tried to get me to stop. I had relationships with people who did not like professional wrestling and made it very clear that they didn't want me to be a consistent fan with it as well. Let's just say those relationships didn't last very long. I'm not saying that a person has to be invested in the same things as me. You can like whatever you like, whether it's anime, Lego, movies, music. I don't force anyone to be interested in the hobby that I am in. I'm just going to exist. I'm going to enjoy my fandom. Same thing with people that enjoy anime and Harry Potter and Star Wars and Disney and whatever it is. Enjoy your fandom for what it is. And if others don't like it, then, unfortunate for them, I guess. I have Funkos and figures, books, championship titles, play sets, movies, you name it, of this wonderful thing that we call professional wrestling. And one of the things that really made it cool for me was my older brother was a fan of wrestling, and that's pretty much how I got into it to begin with. And through the years of having some friends that still enjoy wrestling, now that we're, in our late 30s, I will turn 40 next month. It's still wild to me. But even stuff like this. This is not my original one. Well, I think I have my original one here somewhere. But, like this right here. This is, a very thick, rubbery foam title. It's a little bit beat up. I made it look as best as it could. I got this off eBay. Stuff like this is just so cool to me. Collecting things from my youth. I never really got rid of anything, which I'm very thankful for. My movies that I have, my action figures, my collection has grown considerably over the years, and luckily, I have a place to display those things and enjoy them. I go to conventions and meet a lot of the wrestlers that I grew up watching on TV and getting autographs signed by them and pictures taken with them. That's always been a huge joy to me. It could be expensive. Luckily, I've been able to bankroll that the best I can. And for the majority of people that I know, they support my fandom. They understand that it's a healthy avenue. Just like if you're a fan of baseball or football, it's a activity that can kind of give you a break from the ups and downs of the real world, so to speak. They say, baseball is America's favorite pastime. I can honestly say that collecting and watching wrestling has been a huge beacon of light for many years for me. Being a person who has things such as anxiety, social anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, along with other mental issues. I deal with chronic pain issues and health conditions. So it's always a nice time to just escape for a little while and put on a match or a pay-per-view or unbox a figure or even come in here and just look at my stuff. It's so much fun to collect and to have friends in the hobby as well that also, we share what we picked up and what we saw out in the wild. What we're looking for, our opinions on matches, and we talk about the history of wrestling and the pay-per-views that we grew up watching, whether it was ECW, WCW, WWF, WWE, World Class Championship Wrestling out of Dallas, Texas. The list goes on. I really enjoy collecting a lot of the Mexican bootleg figures of the Luchadors, CMLL, AAA figures that they, sell outside the arena. Also, the bootleg He-Man style figures are always fun. And of course, the most recognized Funko is a huge intellectual property that has, wrestling's license, and it's cool to get those signed. Magazines, the only one that still goes is Professional Wrestling Illustrated. WWE actually discontinued their magazine in, I believe, 2014, unfortunately. But Pro Wrestling Illustrated is one of the last publications still running. There used to be all types of magazines. Pro Wrestling Illustrated, Wrestling Insider, WOW Magazine. I mean, you name it. There were just shelves and shelves full of them on the newsstands everywhere. And I still collect them. I love them. They're so fun to go through. The network, Peacock, is always fun to go and watch older pay-per-views and the newer ones, of course. There's a lot of really good influencers and wrestling TikTokers, people on YouTube that make really good videos. So, I mean, if you're a fan of wrestling, there's so much of it to watch that it can be overwhelming at times. But now, especially, and I'm glad that it's reached this level, you don't have to hide the fact that you're a collector or a fan of wrestling or a fan of anything, really. You could just be open about it and enjoy it for what it is. Now, are there some people that are negative? Sure. But that's going to be in anything. You're always going to have negativity in almost every type of fandom. So do your best to avoid that. But, just enjoy yourself and have fun as much as you can. WrestleMania, is one of the biggest events of the year. The next event is Elimination Chamber, and Mania is kind of like our Super Bowl. So I just want to say thank you for watching, thank you for commenting, thank you for liking the videos. If you could like the video, leave a comment down below. Hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed this video, and the doctor will see you later.